So, good afternoon, everyone. This will be the last topic for um, Operations Research 1. So, all the other topics will be discussed in your Operations Research 2. Okay. So, actually, this is my specialization, doing scheduling and planning and scheduling because I worked as planner, engineer, planner, and scheduler in a construction company in Thailand before and in Hong Kong. So, we are using software in solving the Pert CPM. The software that we're using is Primavera or SureTrack. Okay, project scheduling is also possible, no? And it is available in the MS Word, I guess. Okay, so what is this PERT CPM? PERT means Project Evaluation Review and Technique, and it can be used to estimate the probability that a project will be completed over time. And critical path method is used to determine how long each activity in the project can be delayed without delaying the completion of the project. You have to remember, if you will be working in a construction company, and yes, it's possible for an IE to work in a construction company kasi tayo, jack of all trades. So, we're not limited only in manufacturing. So, you can work in any service-oriented company. Some works in bank. And my past experience in abroad is in construction. So, before I'm the one doing this one. So why is it that's important to compute for this one? Because I know you're familiar with, di ba, kung nga if you're going to construct a house. If the contractor, let's say, gave you a timetable wherein, let's say, in 5 months or 6 months, we'll be able to finish your house. Or 6 months, we'll be able to finish constructing your house. If the contractor didn't been able to finish it on time, he will pay an extra for the non-completion, and we will be the one paying for the laborers and for the other expenses na nasobrahan na dun sa specified amount time. That's why it's very important, if you're the contractor, you should be able to identify when are you going to finish it. Okay, and usually it's the critical path method. Okay, so what are the other terms that you need to remember? So we have the activity. It is an effort that requires resources and amount of time. An event, which is the specific accomplishment at a point of time. The project is a collection of activity with definable beginning and end. A network, a logical and chronological set of activities or event. And path, set of adjacent activities that form a continuous path or event. So again, this PERT CPM is included in the network problem. Okay, so chronological, it is the same with the process flow that you have. If, diba, yung mga example nyo with method study, with work measurement. So, you have process flow. You cannot start a certain process unless you're done kung kailangan siya. Okay. The same thing with this one with PERT CPM. Pwede bang itayo na ang atip or bubong? If you don't have any foundation pa, wala ka pang poste, and also the trusses, nakalutang sa hangin, nakakatakot yun. So the same thing with PERT CPM, there is a chronological set of activities that you need to follow. So let's have this example. Okay, for the example that I gave is opening a store, wherein we have the following activities, A to L. So the description is listed here. You have to develop advertising plan, promotion, training plan, TV ads, etc., etc. So, we have dummy activity here. If you, kasi later on, if you're going to draw the network, makikita nyo why is it that you need to have a dummy activity. But, this dummy activity doesn't have any value at all. Parang yung sa transpo, if you have dummy activity, it doesn't have any cost. The same thing here, no value at all. Okay? So, if you try to C, we have the following activity and then the predecessor. So, meaning D cannot cannot start unless A is finished. The same with E, cannot start unless A is finished. F cannot start unless E is finished. So, if you try to look at the diagram, A, B, and C, they are the initial. D cannot start and E cannot start unless A is finished. G and H cannot start unless B is finished. J cannot start unless C is finished. The same manner, K cannot start unless H and J is finished. And I cannot start unless D and E is finished. Ito na yung dummy, the F. Why is it that you have a dummy here? Kasi pag wala, dalawang straight yan na ang pangit lang tignan. Okay? That's why you write down a dummy. Okay? So, I cannot start unless D and E is finished or D and F. Kasi the F naman, it doesn't have any value. And L cannot start unless I, G, and K is finished. Ito yun. Okay. So, all of these three values are given. And also the AMD. What are these AMD? Okay. AMD is the most optimistic time. If you try to look at the value of A, ito yung pinaka-maaga, optimistic. Ma'am, is it possible ba na you have an optimistic value masyadong maaga? Yes. In construction, di ba? Kasi ang pinaka-critical dyan sa construction actually is the pouring of cement. And pag mainit, you'll be able to madadry kagad siya, makakure kagad yung cement. So, pag mainit na mainit yung panahon, the time in curing, pag mainit, yun yung optimistic. The most likely is the usual. Okay, hindi mainit, hindi hindi tag-ulan. So, kung ano yan, curing of cement. So, these are the value. And the most pessimistic time will be yung pinakamatagal pag tag-ulan. Alam nyo, pag tag-ulan, mahirap matuyo ang semento. So, these are the longest time, the most pessimistic. So, if you try to look at this, yan yung pinakamaagang time, in weeks to you can be able to develop an advertising plan. Most likely is 2, and the pinakamatagal is 3 weeks. Okay? Ma'am, saan namin makukuha the AMD? If it is in construction, usually you can get it from the field, yung mga foreman, yung mga supervisors, because they know already, pag mainit, ilang araw lang, matutuyo na yung semento. So, it's based on their expertise. If it's inside the manufacturing plant, yan na yung mga supervisors, yung mga production engineer, because they know what's the data. And then, you need to compute for the time. T is the time, which is equal to A plus 4M plus B over 6. If you try to look at the formula, we give more importance on the M, which is the most likely time. 4 times siya. And then over 6. Tapos, up to here, again, are given. You need to compute for the T, which is yung formula nga ito. Okay. And then the start time, early start, LS, the late start, the early finish, and the late finish. And the slack, which is LF minus EF or LS minus ES. And then the critical path. Okay. In getting the LS and the EF, it is important that you draw first the network. Okay. Dun muna tayo sa ES. Okay. Initially, the time for A, B, and C, we don't have any value. Okay, it's 0 first, ang initial. Kasi ang ES is the early start. So, sa start ng A, B, and C, we don't have any time at all. Okay. Pero, ano ang, wait, medyo malabo. What will be the computation for the LS? Okay. The LS will be equal to LF, which is this, minus the T. Ito mamaya ito pabaliktad. Okay. For the EF naman, it is equal to ES plus T. Okay. EF. So, dapat kasi itong EF nandito katabi ng ES para hindi kayo malito. So, anyway, initially, we have 0 for A, B, and C. Pero sa EF ng A, alam natin yung time is 2. So, we add 2. So, 0 plus 2, ang EF ng A will be equal to 2. The same thing with B, ang ES niya, because initially it's 0, and then the time is 2. We add 2. That's why your EF for B is also 2. And the same thing with C. Naging 2 siya sa EF. Okay. The EF in the previous dito sa dito sa network natin, will be the ES of the succeeding activities. So for D and E, ang ES nila will be the EF of A, which is equal to 2. Okay, that's why it's 2 and 2. And then for the EF of D, you just add the T. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. That's why it's 5 here. And here, 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. That's why it's 6 here. Okay? Ma'am, paano pag nagsalubong na? Because here you have 5 and you have 6. Paano ma'am sa I? Ano ang ES sa I? So if you try to look sa I, ang ES niya is 6. So you choose the highest. Okay, that's why it's 6 here. And then the EF of I plus 4 is 10. That's why you have 10. And so on and so forth. If you try to look, the last EF is 19. Itong 19 na to is actually the total completion time of the project. And in solving the LF, you just copy the LF, which is 19. Tapos pabaliktad naman siya. So you have to compute for the LS. Pabaliktad siya. So 19 minus the time, which is 4 in L, it will be equal to the LS of L. So 19 and then minus 4 is 15. That's why 19 and 15. And the last na LS will be the LF of the succeeding. That's why you write down 15 here. 4I and 4K. 15 and 15. And then you subtract again the time para makuha mo ang LS. And so on and so forth. Ang pabaliktad naman if we're going to compute for the LS. So pag nag-meet sila sa intersection, you choose the lowest. Again, in computing for the EF, pag forward, you choose the highest. Pag pabaliktad, nag-intersect like D and E, you choose the lowest. Para sa LF ng kasunod ng A. Okay? So that's it. That's the total, and then the critical path. Those with 0, yun yung critical path. Ito yung computation. It's either LF minus EF or LS minus ES. You have the same answer anyway. So if you try to look, C has 0, ano pa? J, K, and L. So, meaning itong path na to, C, J, K, and L. If you try to add all the time here, it's 19. It's the same as what you have in your LF and EF. So, 19 weeks ang total completion time. Ang critical path, siya yung magsasabi what will be the time completion of the project. At itong critical path na to, since he's the determinant on how long will be the project be completed, if you're the project engineer or the one in charge for this project, you should focus on this critical path area. The C, J, K, and L. Ito yon. Ito. That's the critical path. So, the final answer will be that the project completion is 19 weeks and the critical path is C, J, K, L, which is equal to 19 weeks also. That ends the Pert CPM. Thank you.